Reyes has been someone I've been suspicious of for a long time, with his role in Central American politics has been going on a long time. He would have won a Nobel Prize, but I can assure you that, as you know, the Nobel Prize has been for a long time a politically motivated institution.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, but be that as it may, I knew right then and there that this was the new slickster in action, if you will. This is the new slick politics of today. We no longer have the easy villain. George Bush was a very, very easy villain for people to love to hate because he was just such a jerk.
Right.
But now we have somebody who's squeaky clean and who's photogenic and a happy man, and somebody who you can, people relate to, but yet there's still dirty deeds going on, and this man is approving of these dirty deeds. In Central America and the Caribbean and Pakistan, Afghanistan, people are being killed as we speak because this man is making decisions.
It's Bush continued.
As Bush continued, yeah.
Yes, and Pierre, let's talk a little bit about Haiti and the recent developments in Haiti in terms of the UN moving in there, the death of Father Jean Just,
yes,
Jerry Jean Just, and the UN opening fire at his funeral in Haiti and killing a young man.
Yes, and pretty much, that's why many times I've been hearing on the news regarding the situation in Honduras. People in Honduras are calling for, or at least the corporate media is reporting that they are calling for the blue helmets, you see, meaning the UN. They are calling for the UN.
Oh, and be careful what you ask for.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And so what I feel is needed among us in the region, throughout the Americas, throughout the world really, is sharing of information among people.
Right.
So that we can see each other's experience and how these experiences have impacted each other's struggle, and to learn from them and to move in a way to stop these things from continuing to happen, making the mistakes. For example, when President Aristide was overthrown in 91-94 by the Haitian military, the OAS had the same condemnation.
Organization of American States.
Organization, all the countries of the Americas are part of this, are members of this organization, and there was unified condemnation. Yet, as I was saying earlier to you, while they were holding their meetings in Cartagena, Colombia, there was supposedly an embargo against the Haitian military. A big oil tanker was leaving the port of Cartagena on its way to supply the Haitian military with petroleum. See? So that highlighted the contradictions and the lies. So, but with the second coup, now we have the UN in Haiti, which is really an army of occupation, because the UN doesn't have its own troops. These are all troops, all soldiers from South and Central America and Pakistan, Sri Lanka, other countries are also there. But they are there really as an army of occupation to do the dirty deeds and that shields the US, France, and Canada. Right. You see what I mean? Now It's the countries of South America. And during the funeral of Father Jean Just, to bring it to the present, Father Jean Just is a liberation theologian, great friend of President Aristide, a vocal opponent to the coup d'etat, both coup d'etats, but
who
to the
fed
one...
a ton of children in Haiti.
Exactly, and the one that most recently took place. And during his funeral, scene reminiscent of what happened during the funeral of Archbishop Romero,
right.
The Brazilian contingent, the Brazilian troops of the UN, actually fired on the mourners, killing one young man, one young mourner.
Incredible.
You see, and this is a string of killings that have happened in neighborhoods such as Cité Soleil, or the neighborhoods that are very strongly, that continue to demand the return of President Aristide. And this July 6th, that just is the 4th anniversary of a big massacre that the UN conducted in the barrios in one of the...
I remember that. Kevin Pina, the filmmaker, had incredible footage of that massacre, and
exactly.
It was hard to watch.
So as I'm looking, so this is the current situation there.
Excuse me, Pierre, I hate to cut you off, but I do have to, I'm obliged to open our live line for anyone who might have questions. You may call 415-621-4473 to ask questions of my guest, Emiliano Echeverria or Pierre Labossiere. And go ahead, finish.
Yes, and so also it's important for us to realize that what happened too during the first coup, President Aristide was 7 months only in a 5-year term, yet they kept him in exile
Right.
for 3 years,
Yeah.
supposedly negotiating.
Right.
When the U.S. had the power, and the OAS and the UN, they had the power to force the Haitian military to stop their coup.
Right.
Same thing going on in Honduras. The U.S. has the power right now to put a stop to it. And yet they are playing this game of making the clock run out on President Zelaya.
Now, I understand Zelaya, Emiliano, only has about 6 months left in his term. So that's relatively easy for them to pull off, isn't it?
This is something which is, has been in the playbook for years as part of destabilization 1A. I'm sure that's put out in the CIA playbook. I'm sure their playbook, they keep using this again and again and again. They usually time it for the president of a country that they want to overthrow. They know, make sure it's almost the end of his term. Make sure he's in bed. Okay?
Right.
They do this. How many times do you get them in bed or in the bathtub? It's something which the CIA is a little pathological about. They do this kind of thing.
Right.
And the whole point is to frighten the hell out of you.
It's terrorizing.
It's terrorizing. You see.
Yeah. We know who the real terrorists are.
Central America has a long history of U.S.-sponsored terrorism, and unfortunately, the U.S. administration is going to pay very dearly in Latin America in general.
Isn't there a huge military base in Honduras?
Well, Honduras,
from which they've launched all kinds of wars?
Honduras has been a base of U.S. operations since almost the beginning of the last century. Honduras was occupied by the U.S. military along with Nicaragua during the early years of the 20th century. So,
as
was Haiti and Dominican Republic and Cuba. And continues to be occupying Puerto Rico. Continues to occupy Puerto Rico. So there is the point of all of this is that for the first time in a century and a half, North American hegemony in Latin America has been seriously threatened by popular democratic means. And because this popular democratic means has occurred, it has scared the daylights out of the North Americans because now they realize and understand just where the people are coming from.
Right.
And because they now know where the people are coming from, it's unnerving to the American elites, the North American elites, because these are countries that have been exploited. For the entire continent has been exploited and repressed for years. And these are people now saying, time, it's enough.